Previously on Coruscant Nights, the metal walls of the shuttle rattle as it breaks the atmosphere of Coruscant. Chub Nubbits, along with their 5 fellow Padawan and Master Debo Bend, sit all across from each other in the back of this shuttle. Space opens up in the cockpit out front. Pilot and co-pilot drive it towards the Grand Orbital Observatory.
Chub is an adventurer at heart, and they want to see everything that they can in the galaxy. So any opportunity to go anywhere is just the best thing ever to Chub. So they are crowding every window that they can and just wanting to see as much as they can, exploring the ship. They're loving this. This is just feeding their desire for adventure, even if it is just going to the observatory for a field trip.
Well, it's not just the observatory. The observatory is the starting point. As the observatory grows in the cockpit window, it's this ring with a little dome in the center. Chubs can see that docked to the side of it is a very large ship, and they know that that is the next leg of their journey as they join their fellow Padawans on their trip to Ilum.
Oh, so it's time.
The dark side clouds everything. Impossible to see, the future is.
Chub gives a rousing speech in Ewokese that nobody fully understands. None of them fully understand, with a little bit of basic thrown in. And at the end, they throw one fist up into the air and says, "Are you with me?"
And you get a semi-enthusiastic fine, I guess.
Okay.
With that rousing response, Chub feels absolutely energized and decides that it's time to be the fearless leader that they wrongly fantasize that they are. So Chub says, "Follow me, everybody! Yub nub!" And off they go on an adventure.
Chub Nubbits and their 5 Padawan friends take off down the hallway, trying to be as stealthy as possible on a mixture of tiny, light feet and very large, very heavy feet. I don't think that they can possibly be particularly stealthy, but we can roll a stealth check, a group stealth, to see how it goes.
Well, even if they were being quiet as little church mice, they are such a motley crew, and no one's gonna buy that this group of youngsters
with
all
braids.
wearing with braids and Padawan robes. Why are they wandering around unsupervised?
Hey, but one of them's got a lightsaber.
Oh, that's true. So they could, and no one can tell an Ewok's age because
nobody has seen an Ewok before.
No one even knows what they are. I mean, they were given an adult beverage in the last on their last adventure, so who's to say? They could be. Chub could very well be the leader.
What do you want to roll?
Stealth, right?
I mean, if you want to roll stealth, or you can argue for something else. Is Chub showing that they're a leader? We could do leadership.
I was literally about to say I almost want to do a leadership check because Chub was the class clown / everybody's friend. Mm-hmm. But since getting their lightsaber, like we've talked about already, Debo Bend has been giving them more responsibility, relying on them a bit more, asking them to help out more. And, Chub has taken that on and really risen to that challenge. So I feel like I feel like a leadership check.
Okay. All right. So leadership check is going to be against, I'd say it's against the people that you are passing by in the hallway. Mm-hmm. So we are looking at, I'm going to do a red and a purple, passing a lot of clones, and they're very disciplined and they generally know what's going on this station.
Okay.
You can add, since this is a group check, you are doing this with your 5 friends. Blue dice max out at 3, so you can have 3 blues.
Ooh, that's nice.
But you're going to also take 1 black die because Debo Ben was trying to keep an eye on you.
That's right. That makes sense. Okay, perfect. Here we go.
Wow. That's my favorite roll so far.
2 failures, 6 advantages, and 1 despair. That is an emotional roller coaster right there. Yeah. I have a thought.
What's your thought?
So a thought for the despair
Mhm.
is we need to lose a member of the group. Somebody gets too nervous
Uh-huh.
and just goes back to be with the adults or something like that.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. I'm going to let you decide who that is.
Yeah. The 6 of you start moving down the hallway, and as you get further down, you are passing more and more clones, and you're getting looks from them. You can't see through their helmets, but Jonas gets the feeling that those looks are accusing, and the clones know that they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And Jonas says, guys, I've had enough of this. I just have to head back.
And Chub rolls his eyes as Jonas's anxiety gets the best of him once again, always concerned with their image and potentially getting in trouble. Chub is like, all right, fine. So Jonas is gone, but Chub isn't too worried about it because really Chimbasa and Henna are the two that he feels like he really wants there. Although Draxel is good fun and entertainment because they're always up to something weird and new.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Pesh Tambala is so smart that they've helped Chub study for many a Padawan exam. So actually, yeah, Jonas is really the one who wasn't bringing much to the table. So Chub feels okay with this outcome. The only thing that Chub is worried about is if Jonas tells Debo Bend what they're up to.
Yeah. 6 advantages. What do you want to do with that? That's pretty great.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a lot. So did you use the 2 threats yet?
On previous rolls?
2 failures? No, I meant the 2 failures.
2 failures are that you're getting eyed by a lot of clones, and they're kind of keeping tabs on these wandering younglings.
We're on the clones' radars.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. So the 6 advantages. Ooh, so it would be kind of nice if, since Chub has received his vision already about where the Kyber crystal was and all that stuff, Chub has shared that experience with their classmates, and they have shared that story with them about how the vision came to them. And of course, the rest of the classmates, their goal, their desire, they all have one shared desire in finding their Kyber crystal to build their saber. So what could be cool is if those 6 advantages, maybe during this time on this meditative journey that's supposed to be happening for the next 24 hours, Chub is able to help lead each of them to finding their vision about where their Kyber crystal will be in Ilum.
You want to find the place on this station that is the most strong in the Force?
Yeah. And then maybe if that can help each of their classmates have a vision or something.
Okay.
I don't know. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, it makes sense what you're saying. I think since we are not in the minds of those other classmates,
right,
finding a place that they can have that sort of experience maybe will be 2 advantages.
Okay. Yep. And then maybe one. So there's 2 advantages. And then another advantage could be that Chub is given some kind of intuitive insight into like a word or an image that they can share with each of their classmates that will help lead them on their journey. Almost like a trigger for the vision, or a trigger for some instinctual thing about where their Kyber crystal will be, or something that they might need to overcome in order to actually get their Kyber crystal, or something along those lines. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So Chub leads these 4 other kids through this station. The station is clearly made by Jedi for Jedi, but in the time of the Clone Wars, it has become a little bit more militarized, and there's a clear delineation between places that are Jedi places, like only Jedi places, and places that are shared with Jedi and clones. So as you are walking, you pass a place that looks like it's been converted into a clone barracks with bunks and stuff for the clones to use, and you pass a mess hall that at this point is just full of clones, and there aren't any Jedi around.
As they walk past the mess hall, Chub sniffs deeply and sighs out, mana, as they smell the delicious food. It's probably not that delicious, but Chub is a little food obsessed and is interested in anything edible.
Yeah, so you pass the mess, and then the 5 of you find your way into some quieter corridors. And You pass a few places that look kind of technical, science-y. Henna's super into it. And eventually you make your way, following Chub's instinct, to what seems like the center of the station.
So is the station, you described it as being an orb.
It's like a big wheel.
Oh, I see. So a wheel going this way.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we're in a if it were Saturn, it's the rings.
Yep. And you're heading towards
That's what we're walking around.
You're going coreward right now. Yeah.
Okay. We're spiraling into the center of this ring. Okay, great.
And there are all sorts of interconnected corridors. You don't have to like go in a spiral like we did on that Ithorian ship.
Right.
And you find your way towards that center, and opening a door, you come to a place that feels great for Chub Nubbits.
Just trying to I was trying to find a word that's like, I was trying to see if there was a word that would describe the way the force flowing makes Chub feel. Because I think that's different for different people.
Yeah.
Like the force doesn't make everyone feel the same.
We haven't really talked about what the force is like for Chub.
Yeah.
This space feels more natural than the rest of the space station. The ground is a sort of a synth stone, and it's laid almost like brickwork. There are small patches of green here and there, and little circles where you would assume people would meditate. There are little mats on those circles. And in the center of this place, huge, a tree. Just one tree that reaches up into up towards the ceiling. And as Chub's eyes follow the tree up the trunk to the branches to the leaves, they see that the ceiling above it is this huge clear dome, and they can see out to the universe. Chimbasa says,
Chub looks at this amazing tree and they say, Tukaki, which literally means tree. And as Chub approaches the tree and gets closer and closer, they start just having this feeling, the same feeling they had when they experienced the vision that led them to their kyber crystal, and that same feeling that the kyber crystal gave them when they held it the first time, and that they feel now as the kyber crystal lives in their hilt on their utility belt. And it is the feeling of Weewa, the feeling of home. And this tree is giving off this sense of Weewa and belonging. And the feeling is getting stronger and stronger as Chub approaches it.
And you can see Chimbasa's got a similar feeling as he walks up to it and places a hand on its trunk. I think the two of you share something in common here. Being on Coruscant, away from the forest and nature, it's different than home.
Yes, we have a connection to nature and the earth that we share.
Yeah, and really, almost everybody here, Peshtambala, the Ithorians revere nature. So yeah, you all have this little quick experience, like shared experience here under this giant tree.
And as they are all standing there in their just feeling this, having this shared experience, as they all realize that everyone else is being affected, but differently, but they know that something about this tree is affecting each of them. Chub looks across at Henna, and Henna is reaching up towards the leaves. And as Chub looks over and sees Henna doing this, all of a sudden, Chub gets this flash of a vision.
We're going to have to roll.
But it's my advantage. It's just, it could be, it doesn't have to be like a whole story, but like an image or a word or something force related that they pass on to Henna to help them find their...
Okay, so Henna's not actually reaching up to the leaves. Peshtambala and Chimbasa and Chub all have this connection with the tree. But as you look, you see Draxel and Henna sort of kneel down and put a hand on the dirt that the tree is on.
Ochiwala suddenly comes to Chub.
So what is Chub going to do? Are they going to... They were trying to sort of lead these people, these young Jedi. Are they going to try and lead a meditation? Are they going to try and influence what they meditate on when they...
That's a better idea, because I was going to have that Chub. I was thinking initially that Chub would have a vision for them, but that's too complicated. And why would Chub have that kind of insight for each of them? So
I
I
think they
think you're
might be
right
able
that,
to say at this point, since they have had, I think all of these kids have had connections to the Force and have
right,
had things go on in their lives
right.
outside of Chubb's.
They're all experiencing the Force right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, on their own. Just they're not such beginners that
Mhm.
they are learning how to recognize what's affecting them still. So they know what this is.
But I think Chubb could give them an idea of where to concentrate and what
Mhm.
to think about, because they have had this experience that the rest
Mhm.
of them are looking to have within the next couple of days.
Mhm.
They could say, this is
Yep.
what it's like to
Right.
commune with your kyber crystal.
Yeah. Okay. Yep, I got it. Chubb looks around and sees all of their classmates being affected just like they are by the strong sense of the Force emanating from this tree. So Chubb, leading by example, goes and sits down in the meditation position in front of the tree with his back to the trunk, and looks at their classmates and motions for them to sit in a circle around them. So they all gather around in a circle in front of the roots of this tree.
Mm-hmm. Chambasa and Henna sit cross-legged, hands in their laps. Peshtam Bala comes up and sits the same way, and then Draxel comes up and just like collapses backwards, laying on the ground, eyes up at the stars and the galaxy spinning out through the window.
I love Draxel. I really do. Oh. And Chubb looks at all of them, and since they've already shared their story of the Force and what it feels like to them and what the vision felt like, all they say is Lang Uiwa. And with that, closes their eyes and begins to meditate. That means think home. They're telling the classmates to, for them, home is the sense. So it's just think of the thing that is most important to you, or whatever the Force feels like to you.
Let's do a group Force check.
Love it. That sounds great.
So Chub Nubbits is strong in the Force. I don't know if you've looked at Chub Nubbits' Force rating. It's 2. It's higher than any Force people that you've played before.
Yeah, that's true, because everybody else I've played, they've had Force sensitivity, but no ranks in it.
Yeah. So
what do I do to roll a Force check?
You're going to roll
Force check.
You're going to click on the white one, and you're going to click on it once for every person that you're with, and then twice for Chub.
Okay, so I should have 6.
You should have 6 Force dice, and we'll see what the balance is.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's great. Hello.
Okay, so between the group of Padawans, Chambasa and Draxel, Henna, Peshtambala, and Chub, they close their eyes and think about home. And Chambasa thinks about nature and trees, and that he was young when he was brought to the Jedi Temple, and he doesn't really remember home, but he does remember the trees, the big, big trees that his people lived in. And Draxel, too, was very young when he was brought to the Jedi Academy, but he remembers the cold and the earth and the stones. Henna has actually been back to Ryloth in their time as a Padawan, this desert planet that she immediately felt a connection to. And Peshtambala has always felt at home in the gardens in the Jedi Temple. And she thinks about the places where she meditates outside the temple. And what does Chub think about?
And Chub thinks about their home. To them, home is wherever his tribe is. So Chub is thinking about when they first arrived at the Jedi Temple and made a new family, and also thinking back to their first family on Endor and their aunt and uncle who lovingly raised them, and that first feeling of family, and then how they've experienced that with Debo Bend and their classmates here, and there's so much more than just their classmates that they live with, and then thinking about this power that flows through them and how strangely that power too feels like this secure, homey place that they get to carry around with them at all times. Chub's very deep, okay?
Chub's deep.
Yeah, got things going.
As they all think of home and family, they are pulled into the Force together, collectively.
Ooh, what an exciting adventure!
And they see themselves, but a little bit older, all together still, on a ship. The walls of the ship are covered in little cubbies, and there are a number of tables and workstations. And you see Chambasa building his lightsaber. The vision moves forward. It's like moving through hyperspace, but without the blue. It's the stars just whoosh forward. And we see Henna on a desert planet. She looks like she may be 16. Her robes aren't Jedi robes. They're more casual, more like somebody who would explore the galaxy or travel. They look like any robes that you would see in any spaceport. Just, she looks like anybody else. And you don't see the lightsaber, but you know that the crystal is with her. And we rush forward again to see Draxel. And Draxel is hiding, which is hard for somebody his size, especially as we see him now. He's older. He's maybe 20, and he's big. And the ship that he is on is filled with people, and a group of, you would call them clone troopers, walk by looking at these people. And we rush forward again and see Pesh Tumbala, who looks maybe in her 30s, and she's in a forest, and she's meditating, and she's smiling.
Is she wearing Jedi robes?
No. Interestingly, none of these visions of these people, you are wearing Jedi robes. You no longer have the braids, so that means you're not Padawan anymore. And where do we see Chub?
I was wondering, I was actually thinking about that while you were talking. Where do we see Chub? So, for Chub, the vision of them in the future is far into the future, well into Chub's middle age. And Chub is tall for an Ewok. And Chub thinks, yes, just like I hope. And they are someplace that Chub has never seen before. They can't identify what planet they're on, not even what system they're in. It's a landscape like they've never seen before. It's like they're walking through desert, but in the background they can see green mountains. And Chub has never seen a place like that before, with a blue sky and green mountains, and then this red desert sand that they're walking through. And Chub is dressed in traveling clothes, but they can see the same utility belt they're wearing now with their lightsaber hanging from it.
Chub can tell that everybody saw every part of that vision, and the stars sort of snap back to where they are, and you all get this sense of great loss before you come out of the vision.
Chub takes a deep breath, opens their eyes, and looks around at their classmates. And as they all make eye contact, they realize that they all experienced the same thing.
Was that a vision of the future?
Yeah.
Master Ben said to be careful of visions of the future.
We all saw parts of each other's future, so I don't think we have to be as afraid. We take care of each other now, and we can take care of each other in the future.
Did you all feel that?
It was glad.
Yeah, that was weird.
And as Pesh Tumbala says that, the door to this place opens up, and Master Bend and Jonas walk in. Debo says, I see you found the meditation chamber.
And Chub thinks,
Oh wow, we used this room for what it was made for. Isn't that lucky?
Master Bend says, Have you been putting the meditation chamber to good use?
Yeah.
Pashambala says,
We had a vision of the future.
and Debo says, you must be wary of visions of the future. The future is always in flux. Things change. And Draxel says, yeah, I said that. Now, if you'll all gather round, we have a little bit to discuss, and then we will get back to your meditation. Jonas takes a seat, and Master Ben takes the final open spot in this little circle. I am sorry that the group of you missed the tour. I was planning on showing you the ins and outs of this station, which I assume you, Henna, would be very interested in. This place is used for observation and meditation, and we were going to take a peek at our new ship that we will be taking to Ilum. Henna starts typing on her datapad. The Crucible 2, commissioned by Master Yoda after the destruction of the previous Crucible on Florum recently. The Crucible 2 will be taking us to Ilum to gather our kyber crystals. And Henna flips the datapad around and shows everyone a picture of the Crucible 2 that she sliced from the system.
Yep.
It's a Sphyrna-class hammerhead. If you picture the Tantive 4, the ship that Princess Leia was fleeing the Imperials from in the beginning of A New Hope, sort of like that, except instead of having like a small horizontal hammer in the front, it's got a tall vertical hammer in the front.
I think is there a picture of one? Because I think
Yeah, there are a bunch of pictures of it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, then I see it.
And Master Ben says, all of the resources you need for building your lightsabers can be found on this ship. They are resupplying, and it will be ready to go at dawn.
Ooh, Dave.
In the meantime, we shall spend some time in self-reflection and meditation. The trials ahead may be challenging, and I need to make sure that you are all up to the task. The group of you spend the next couple hours in meditation. What is that like for Chub Nubbits?
So, honestly, it's been a bit of a shock to everyone that Chub was the first one to get their vision and kyber crystal, because they're notoriously awful at meditation.
Yeah.
Their minds are...
I'm just picturing their legs just like twitching the whole time. Yeah.
Yes, their mind is so active, and they're always... They hear a sound and they're, oh, what's that? And someone else moves in the room. So, oh, where are they going? And they hear a door close. A breeze goes by. So, oh, well, what's that coming from? And it just every little distraction. And then, of course, they get an itch, or their shoulder starts twitching.
They have to
yes,
scratch the itch without really moving their hands.
Of course, because you're supposed to stay perfectly still while you're meditating. So, yeah, they are not excellent meditators.
Do they fall into it eventually, or is it just in and out the whole time?
It's in and out the whole time.
Okay.
When they're in, they're in. When they're out, they're painfully out.
Mm-hmm. When they're out and Chub has an eye open, they see that Master Bend opens one big black eye to look at them, closes it, giving them a significant look.
Chub closes their eye rapidly and tries to get back into a meditative state.
The rest of the day goes by like this, and by the time meditation time is done, the planet Coruscant is in that big window above them, and they can see that it is storming and little lightning flashes here and there over the city planet. And Debo says, that is all for today. I will show you to your dormitory, and we will be off first thing in the morning. And he leads the group of you out of the meditation chamber.
All right. And leads us to where we're going to sleep for the night, or where are we going?
Yep, he's going to lead you out in the hall, still in that sort of Jedi-only area, to a shared dorm that you are all going to be in tonight. Can I have a real quick perception check? Make it easy, okay. 1 purple. Feel free to use your
I will use a light side point. I don't want to use it right yet, but I'm going to.
Okay. 4 successes and 1
Oh
triumph.
my, Chub! The Force is with you.
After seeing the Zabrak Jedi when you were here earlier, you've not seen any other Jedi on this station. Just a bunch of clones.
So Chub feels emboldened, and they hang back as their fellow friends and classmates walk into the dormitories and start choosing their bunks. And they're kind of hanging in the doorway, shuffling back and forth, waiting for Debo Ben to notice them and give them their attention.
Yes, young Chub?
Chub puts their shoulders back and takes a deep breath.
Kush Droj!
That's what's going on.
What do you mean?
I'm going to be perfectly honest. I overheard your conversation with the Jedi, and I know someone's missing. So, Kush Droj!
Ah, yes. A young Jedi, newly appointed within the past few days. Her name is Connie. You may have met her in your time in the temple. She, well, simply, she has run off. She has been through a traumatic experience, as many of us have.
Dex.
It has gotten to her. Jedi Knight Iani has gone after her, and will eventually find her.
Grinchy cheat! We should help!
This is a matter for knights and masters, young Padawan. We have our own duties to tend to.
Dex.
Says Chub Nubbits and rolls their eyes.
You had better get your sleep. We have a long journey ahead of us.
And Chub, with their last ounce of courage that they have, looks up at Debo Ben, who's about 5 of them stacked on top of each other, and says,
This conversation isn't over.
and turns around and walks into the dormitory.
Debo puts his hands on his hips and chuckles to himself as he moves off to the place where he is staying. Chub gets ready for bed, and all of their fellow Padawans have found the places that they would like to be. How easy is it for Chub to fall asleep in a strange place?
Really easy. Chub.
Yeah, I thought so.
Chub can sleep anywhere. They just curl into a little fluff ball, a little ball of floof, and they're snoring in seconds.
Were you going to use the light side point for something?
Well, I was going to use the light side point to get more information about Connie out of Debo Bend.
But you got a triumph instead.
But I got a triumph instead. Yep.
Yeah, great. As Chub falls quickly asleep, that little bit of sadness from the end of that vision comes back, and it comes back a little stronger. And I'm going to flip a dark side point.
Ugh.
Because that sadness and the feeling that something is missing comes back 10, 100 times stronger. And give me a vigilance check.
Okay. Vigilancia.
It'll be hard. It's going to be against 3 purples.
Ooh, shisha manga.
I'm going to give you a boost for reasons.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
Oh.
We gotta. So 0 successes is a threat.
0 successes is a failure.
Is a failure. Oh, okay.
Yeah, everything canceled out. So the door to their dormitory whooshes open, and Chub blinks their eyes slowly, sleepily. It's still dark, and they see the silhouette of a few people in the doorway. You can't quite hear what they're saying, but you can tell from their voices that they are clones.
Oh, I don't love that. It's a little creepy.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Coruscant Nights. Coruscant Nights is a production of Nightcast Creative. To find out more about us and our projects, visit nightcastcreative.com. Thanks to Mary Frances for playing on these episodes. If you want more Mary Frances, you can hear her in the first season of The Otherplace. And last but not least, don't forget about Donate for Destiny. Influence our Destiny pool and make a difference in children's lives. Check out nightcastcreative.com/destiny for more info and a link to donate.